when I want to start exploring music by a composer who I've never heard of before. At this time, I had never heard of Dr. Johnson, never met him. But he sent me, you sent me the music, right? I think he sent
yes, I did. Yeah.
So he sent me the music, and I'm playing through it, just trying to get it under my hands. And the first thing that came to mind was, wow, this music is meant for a pianist. And I know we're all pianists, we're all piano teachers here, so you all know what I mean. It fits so well in the hands. And there are just incredible textures happening and all of this. Before I get too excited about it, can we play just a quick excerpt of what you're hiding so that our audience can listen to it so we know where we're starting off before doing a deeper dive into this particular piece. And also, okay, go ahead. Awesome. Gosh, I just love the piece so much. I want to listen to all of it. I want to listen to all of it. But Dr. Johnson, can you explain this piece to us? Why you wrote it, what it was commissioned for? Can we start there?
Sure. So this piece was commissioned in collaboration with Bowling Green State University, my alma mater, my first alma mater, where I got my master's. And this was for a dear friend, Abigail Macer, and this was in a collaboration with a doctoral student, Jonathan Taylor de Oliveira. And they both worked on creating pieces as an introductory way into the realm of contemporary music for the undergraduate student, or for the, you say, the pre-college student, someone entering into university level. And they asked me to create a work that was based on a piece that was already in the standard repertoire. And so I took this piece from the very famous, or the very well-known Haydn Sonata in D major. I think it's Hoboken 37. So I said, but yeah, so I thought that would have been a really, really cool project to do. And I jumped straight onto it because I thought that was a really cool idea of taking a lot of the elements that students in those stages learning that sonata would relate to. And that is the idea of patterns. And so taking, in addition to that, is Haydn's wit and humor, as he's famously known for, and kind of spinning that into my own way of this idea of this double entendre. And so Watcha Haydn is a way of saying, what are you hiding? Which is the excerpt of that piece, which is that journey of hide and seek. And so you're having these little moments that return as a way of kind of like checking the corners to see, you know, if the quote that we're looking for is there. And so it kind of builds to that final ending where the quote actually is made, although it's not in the same key as the original piece, but you could still very much hear it. And also it's a nod to this kind of rivalry in a way of like Mozart towards Salieri. For me, it's like a contemporary towards someone of the past to say, look at what I can do. As in to say, look here, Haydn, watch here, Haydn.
I love
So
that.
I actually like the way this turned out, and I hope it would be a really fun way for other performers and teachers to dive into contemporary music.
I love that so much. I love that so much. So many people in our community with Francis Clark Center, a lot of us are teachers, right? And I know myself, sometimes when we are going through the process of selecting repertoire for our students, we often get really caught up in the standard repertoire, standard literature. So by the time we have a high school student, we might just be starting to introduce them to 21st century music. And because we did not incorporate that earlier on, it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't know how to open my ears or how to conceptualize this music. But what I thought was so brilliant, specifically with this piece, is that you are taking something from the standard repertoire, this Haydn sonata. I want all of you to buy all of this music as soon as this webinar is done, and I'm going to we'll share where to get that. But it's so obvious where the quotes are coming from, right? So it's this sense of the student feels a bit more comfortable. I honestly felt a bit more comfortable saying, hey, wait, I know this language and it's a different take on this language, right? I know this sonata. I know this lighthearted texture that I need to have in my fingers and my technique because of what Haydn has taught me. And now I get to experience it in a new way because of this composition. I just thought it was brilliant, and it's fun. It's a lot.
Thank you so much. Yes, and I really do hope that people will find that performing my works, hopefully, or the process of learning them will be as equally fun as performing them, because I do, as a pianist myself, know what it's like to try and learn a piece of music, and it feels so tedious, and you're like, oh my God, it's so laborious, and you don't feel like there's a reward. But I really like pieces where not only is the performing aspect rewarding, but the learning aspect is equally rewarding. And I hope that you'll find that in my works. But I do enjoy that process.
No, it's absolutely right. And you already hit on it, but I want to dive a little bit deeper if I can. Which is, you are a pianist, right?
Yes.
And I think that's something to really talk about, because I often find a lot of 21st century composers, they are not always pianists who are writing for piano, right? And that's fine. And that's absolutely fine. But you can always tell when you have a pianist writing for the piano. And I
must mind you, I must preface this by saying that I didn't always feel confident as a pianist to write for piano. And the premise for that was because I always felt, because I had that virtuoso technique, that there was this need or this desire to overcompose. And so for a very, very long time, I've avoided writing for the genre, because I was like, what do I have to add? Or, I was just thinking that I'm going to try and kind of throw everything in there at once. And I think after a while of learning other instruments and knowing the ways of creating things that are not only practical, but also effective, I realized, hey, this is a way I can do this kind of less is more effect. And when I realized that, this is possible, then the results tended to be much more idiomatic and much more fulfilling in the ear and effective in the fingers. So I think that took a learning lesson on my part to go the far end of the spectrum, and then to be able to dial that back and create works like these now, where I feel very happy to enter into the genre.
Well, we're grateful for it. We're so grateful for it.